Hey guys, welcome back. You probably clicked on this video because you want to know how to create an electric orchestra program at your school. Now, if you're like me, I was inspired by other people that were playing electric instruments, and it just looked like so much fun, and it's something that I wanted my kids to be able to do all year round. So you might be asking yourself, what is an electric orchestra? What does that look and sound like? Well, check out these videos of my electric orchestra, the Rockin' Warhawks, to see what it's like. As you can see, the electric orchestra experience is just so much fun and is filled with many great experiences for the kids that are involved. If you want to see more of those videos, you can visit my orchestra's YouTube page called the Westport Middle School Orchestra and see all of those full videos. Feel free to use them to show to your administration to get them excited about the possibility of you having a group like this at your school. So the hardest part was getting started. In my next few videos, I'm going to show you guys how to start small with a smaller electric ensemble, where to get music, and how to build from there, how to get out in the community playing, and just how to take that electric orchestra to a whole nother level. The idea behind the electric orchestra is to have an alternative group alongside the traditional orchestra program that allows students to explore multiple genres of music, specifically rock and pop. We also get into other categories as well, but that's our mainstream of music that those students are performing. I like to equate the electric orchestra as my orchestra program to a jazz band or a marching band to a band program. Those two ensembles are very visible in the community, and my electric orchestra that I've started at my school has rivaled those band programs and their visibility in the community, and sometimes have surpassed those programs. As string teachers, we want to provide every opportunity for the kids to be inspired by music and get excited about doing it is what we want them to do, and that's to love music. And what better way to get them to love music than to have a group like this within your orchestra program? Before we talk about the how, let's talk about the why. Why would we want to start an electric orchestra? What are the benefits? Just to name a few that stand out for me, first off, the buy-in of the students that are a part of that electric orchestra far surpass any students that I had before that experience. I see students that are so enthusiastic about playing music, you almost have to pry the instrument out of their hand because they're so excited about playing and practicing. And I know we all want students to practice more. After implementing the electric orchestra program alongside my traditional program, the skill level of my kids has increased greatly. Where we were playing maybe grade 2 and grade 3 music with our orchestra program, we're now diving into upper grade 4 level music, so that students are better prepared when they get to their high school programs. Another advantage has been recruitment. Our electric orchestra has been very visible in the community, and we have a lot of students that sign up for the orchestra program because they saw the electric orchestra performing out in the community, or saw our videos on YouTube, or saw us perform at their school building when we did our recruitment tour. Before starting my electric orchestra, I had about 45 kids in the orchestra program, and after 2 years of implementing the program, the size of the program quadrupled to over 200 kids. Not only does it help with recruitment, but it also helps with retaining those students as well. Our students are very excited and proud to be a part of this orchestra program. It has a reputation around the area. The kids know that reputation, and they want to continue being a part of a group like that. Another really big advantage of the electric orchestra has been garnering support from my administration, the parents, and the community at large. My administration sees the excitement out of this group, and they're excited about it as well, and in turn they're more likely to do things to help out our orchestra program. As we've been visible in the community, our community, such as our city council and other businesses around the area, have rallied behind the group and provided support financially, and have given us many performance opportunities that we wouldn't ordinarily have. And as a part of that advantage in the community, it has increased our fundraising efforts with little less effort. I've raised a lot of funds through business sponsorships, and our local government, our city council, has helped pitch in a lot of money towards this orchestra program, and has saved us a lot of time from doing small fundraisers to where we're raising grants through these organizations. I'll go a little bit more in depth about getting out in the community and how to fundraise in one of my later videos. And of course, the parents absolutely love this program. They want their kids to continue to be a part of it, so they're more willing to help out at concerts, help get their kids to practice, help with private lessons, help purchase instruments, whatever it may be. I have far more involvement from parents than I had previously before starting this organization. All right, let's get into what you need to have an electric orchestra program at your school. Now, I did not start out by having a fully functional electric orchestra with drum set, vocalists, all the electric instruments that I have today. We did not start out with that. We started very small. And I recommend that everybody else start that way as well, especially if you don't know a whole lot about the technology surrounding that. My aim is to try to help you with some of the basics so that you could start an electric orchestra at your school and then build from there. The first thing you're going to need are instruments. And there are a lot of electric violins, electric cello, and electric basses out there, but you have to know which ones to choose. Now, my recommendation, one of the first places I would say to go check out is the electricviolinshop.com. One of the first places I would visit as a teacher would be electricviolinshop.com. You'll be able to find a whole array of electric instruments on their website with advice on which ones to pick. You'll also want to check out Electric Violin Shop's YouTube channel, their Instagram, and their Facebook page, and they have lots of videos where Matt Bell is demonstrating on all of those electric instruments so you can get an idea about how each instrument plays. Now, my personal preference and the instruments that we use at Westport Middle School are Mark Wood's Stingrays and Viper violins. And here's my Viper violin, my personal one that I have here. These are designed by Mark Wood, and they are fantastic instruments. The student model Stingray violins come in 4-string and 5-string, and you'll see my students playing those in the video that you see right now. They sound great, and the kids really like playing them. They look cool, and they're great instruments. Mark Wood also has an electric cello that is worn with a harness, so you can actually walk around and play that instrument and dance, and you're totally free. You're not bound by the end pin in the ground. So my cello players love that because they finally get to stand and play and move around just like the violinists do. If you're going to buy violins, I highly recommend going with the 5-string models. That way you can hand that instrument to either a violin player or a viola player. My viola players love having that added E string, and my violin players love having that added C string. It's a lot of fun for them. So once you have electric instruments, you need some kind of way to amplify them. And there are a few different options that you've got. One very simple option is that you can have all of your players hook up to their own guitar amp or bass amp. I recommend using bass amps for violins because it cuts some of those high frequencies out. And you could arrange those and have the kids play with just their amps. That's a very basic setup, and there's not much you can do as a director if things are out of balance during a performance. Bose, Fender, and JBL are some of the companies that I'm aware of that have these all-in-one PA systems in there. They come with your speakers, microphone, and it has a small mixing console that you can plug your instruments into. Now, you're very limited with those as far as the amount of inputs that you have, but they do make life a lot easier when you're trying to set up things quickly and efficiently. The most ideal option is having a mixer and a PA system that the mixer is sending the sound to. Now, I'll show you a very basic mixer right here, right now, and I'll show you a few different tips and tricks to help your kids sound good out of the speakers. Now, a couple of tips and tricks for you guys when using a mixer. The first thing is that you'll want to pay attention to the EQ knobs, and these adjust different frequency ranges when you're plugging in an instrument into the mixer. Most electric violins don't have the best sound when you plug into a PA. You kind of have to do just a little bit of tweaking to get them to sound right, and it's a little bit different for every PA or every amp. I'll play some notes on my instrument so you can hear that we may want to adjust this tone a little bit. Okay, not my favorite tone. It's just a little bit nasally. Most electric violins, you'll need some kind of adjustment to the tone to get them to sound just a little bit better. So you'll see here, I've got my Mackie Pro FX12 mixer. This is actually the mixer that I started using when I first started my electric orchestra, and I didn't have a whole lot of instruments that I was using, and eventually I upgraded, but this worked for me for a little while, and it could work for you. This mixer has a lot of basic functions that you'll see on most mixers, and I'll just kind of show you each one. Some of you guys out there might not know what any of these knobs do, and I want to be able to help you at least have a basic understanding. So we're going to start right here. You've got the main volume that adjusts your main volume of everything that's plugged into it. You have a monitor volume that is going to control monitor speakers that you can actually send out of this other output and have as a listening speaker for the students that are performing, maybe on the ground, pointed up towards them so that they can hear their instruments coming out. We're going to skip past these just for a second here. We're going to go over here to the channel that I have my violin plugged into. It plugs in right here. That's where my line is. Okay, if we start right here, this is the master volume knob for that channel. The fader is what you'll hear it referred to as. There's a mute button, so you can easily just press that button. It'll turn the volume on or off of the instrument. Here is pan. Pan is going to take that instrument and send it either to your left speaker or right speaker, or kind of a combination of the two. You can have it kind of favor that side or the other side. This is useful when you have a lot of instruments hooked up at once. You can pan them to different speakers, and it'll help clear things up as a listener when you have a lot going on. Effects knob will allow you to do some special effects on that channel, and you can control how much of that effect is going on there. This one is the monitor, so you can control how much is coming out of that monitor like we talked about. The next three knobs are the EQ knobs. You have low, middle, and high EQ. This is super important, and it's going to help you edit or change your tone quality of the electric instrument that's plugged into, and you're going to definitely need to use those EQ knobs. Right here you have a low cut button. We'll talk about that in a second. And you have gain, which is I use gain first to control the volume and get the gain set to a nice, it's like another volume knob essentially, and once you get that set, then you can control the volume from there. All right, let's talk about that EQ. All right, so as I mentioned before, the tone of my violin, not the best tone, and I'll show you some tips so that your kids' tone quality sounds pleasing out of those speakers, because the last thing you want to hear is a bunch of tones that sound like that. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to pay attention to is the high EQ volume knob. These electric violins produce a lot of that high signal, and it can be piercing to listen to out of speaker. So what I always do is I take that high EQ and I turn it all the way down. You would do that on an amplifier as well if you were hooking a violin up to it. So you'll see right away what that does to the tone quality. Okay, so already that tone quality is just so much better. Now, if you're listening maybe on speakers or if you're using headphones, you'll notice when I change bow direction, you'll hear this thump. Okay, if I turn the low up, you'll hear it even more. Okay, that's something that we want to get rid of. Not all the way, because it takes away the articulation. One button that they have on this mixer, and you'll see it on other mixers, is this low cut. Some other mixers you might see a high pass filter. So you'll hit that low cut, and you'll notice that that thump goes away, or that bow noise. Okay, already a little bit better. Okay. And I usually leave the mid about where it is, and I might take just a little bit of low off, not a whole lot, just to help a little bit more with that bow noise. So that's what you'll want to do with the EQ. So cutting that high end, maybe just a little bit of the low, not too much, because you don't want to take away of the body of the sound. All right, so let's jump to this other knob, the effects knob, and what you can do to add just a little bit of warmth to the instrument. Not all mixers have this knob, but if you got it, I recommend using it. So over here, I have a list of presets that are available on this mixer, and right here the screen shows which one I'm on. So right now, I am on Warm Theater, okay? I could go Warm Hall, Concert Hall. So let's go with number 6, the Concert Hall. You want to make sure it's not muted. There's a mute button right here. You'll want to make sure your FX master volume is turned up. If it's turned all the way down, you won't get any effects. That's just your overall effects. And then over here, if this is turned down, you won't get any effects on that channel, but I'll turn that up, and I'll actually turn it all the way up so it's really exaggerated so you hear this effect. Alright, so that's way too much reverb. If you had all your students using that much reverb, you wouldn't be able to tell what anybody was playing. So I'm going to shave off like almost half of that, and just add just a little bit, and it adds some warmth to the sound. Yeah, I might want to add just a little bit more. Alright, so that adds just a little bit of warmth to the sound, and already the tone quality of the instrument is improved. And when you have your entire ensemble come out of those speakers, that's going to help so much. One other thing you can adjust is the overall EQ of the board. I tend to keep it flat for most cases. Sometimes you might want to take off the low end if you're in a boomy room to help clear some of the muddiness of the sound. But I usually do a lot of my EQ over here on each instrument to help with that. All right, now that you've got your instruments plugged into the mixer, you need a way to be able to hear those. You'll need a pair of speakers to amplify what's happening. I highly recommend going with some powered speakers, and there are many out there that make your life so much easier. You just have to find a power source and hook it up with the same cable that you use to hook up a microphone like this, and they'll have spots either on the back or the top of the mixer that say main, left, and right. And you hook those up to your speakers, power those on, and you should be ready to go. And then you can adjust your EQ and reverb and all those volume knobs from there. There are many tutorial videos that show you how to hook up a PA system or how to run a mixer if you get into that situation and you don't remember all this stuff. Electric Violin Shop has some really great videos about how to mix an electric instrument and how to EQ it, as well as Sweetwater has some great tutorials on how to set up a PA. And I've included along with this lesson a document that lists some of those other resources that are out there, as well as a list of mixers and speaker systems that you can buy for your electric orchestra that are simple and easy to use and not super expensive either. If you hop on over to my YouTube channel, the 21st Century Orchestra Director, I have a video, it's episode 2 on there, that talks about the fanny packs that I use for our instruments to hook into and the wireless system that we use, as well as an in-ear monitoring system so that the students can hear themselves through their own earbuds. Check out my next video where I'll talk about how to get music for a group like this and some of the ideas around the copyright laws. See you there.